Manoj, you can start.
Okay. Namaste to all. Thank you everyone for joining this session. We're going to talk about our journey with Suryathon and how Suryathon has affected lives. So today we're being joined by some esteemed panelists as part of the closing ceremony. So we'll start off the session with the invocation and chanting by Ananya Bharadwaj. Ananya, over to you.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Om Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukham Tattvam Pushanna Pavrinu Satyadharmaya Drashtaje Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Going forward with the session, I would like to invite Dr. Vinay Chandra, the director of Indica Yoga, with the opening remarks and unveiling of the Suryathon highlights video. Dr. Vinayji.
Namaste, Suprabhatam, and a warm welcome to all our friends who have joined for two events. One, we have the Global Festival of Yoga, which started on International Yoga Day and is running up to 18th of next month. And also along with it, or as a part of it, this morning, we have the Suryathon finale. Suryathon is Surya Namaskar Marathon, which started or which was launched on 29th of last month. There was a great momentum where we requested participants, friends to join in to do Surya Namaskars, raising up to 108. And the finale was supposed to happen on 20th of June, but the response was so overwhelming that we had to extend it further beyond. And today we have assembled here for this grand finale of this event. In fact, when we started this, we were not sure as to what kind of response we will receive. But as I was saying, the momentum gathered and we have some overwhelming numbers which will be presented to you shortly. So we wanted to connect this also to some sort of a charity work, and therefore we had partnered with Youth for Seva, and Venkatesh Murthy ji from Youth for Seva is here and he'll be sharing some more details of it. And there was a kinds of two-tier motivation for everyone to participate in the Surya Namaskars. One, for their own fitness and health, but also for a larger cause to support the children who have lost one of their parents in COVID. So this was the motivation which brought as many people. I mean, as the numbers show, we had more than 21,000 people participating in this over a period of one whole month. And today we have assembled for the finale of this. We are joined by the team of Center for Soft Power. Vijay Lakshmi ji is here. We are joined by Enigma, which is represented by Shri Naveen ji, who is the founder of it. We are also happy to have Dr. Raghavendra Rao, who is the director of CCRYN. And we also are happy to have Shri Saket ji, who is the head of Salesforce in India. So all these people have come together to acknowledge the participation of thousands of volunteers, participants in this grand finale, in the Suryathon movement. So with this brief introduction, also welcoming everyone on behalf of all the organizing partners, that is CSP, Enigma, and there was also another group which participated in large numbers, that is Yoga Mitra. So all these groups have contributed immensely to take this idea to thousands of people. So here people were using the app, the Surya Namaskar app, to record their Surya Namaskars and to keep a record of the number of Surya Namaskars done. And for each number of each Surya Namaskar that was done, there was 10 rupees that was raised for the purpose of charity. So this is how it went on, and it really captured the imagination of thousands of people. So with this brief, introduction, I would like to present before you the in a short glimpse of as to how all it unfolded in a short video. Srinivasi, can we have the video, please?
सङ्गच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संवो मनांसि जानताम् देवाभागं यथा पूर्वे सञ्जानाना उपासते समानो मन्त्रः समिते समानि समानं मनः सह चित्तमेषा समानं मन्त्रमभिमन्त्रयेव समानेन वो हविषा जुहोमि समानेव कोतिः समाना हृदयानिव समानमस्तु वो मनो यथा वः सुसहासते समानमस्तु वो मनो यथा वः सुसहासते.
Thank you, Vinayji. Wow, that was a journey. I think all of you would have seen it by now. So next on, I would like to invite Sri Dinanath Ji, who's the CEO and founder of Life Cycle, to take us through what Suryathon has been for all of us. Over to you, Dinanath Ji.
Thank you, Manoj. Namaskar, everyone. And can we have the slides, please, on the screen? So while that is coming on, let me very briefly share, my learnings from this Suryathon. So I actually went to my kids and asked, on a lighter note, so what would be the best way I can describe this so it makes sense to the millennials and the Gen Z? So they just gave me 3 words. Surya Namaskar is hot, and it is. So if that makes sense, it made sense to me in a very, very different way as I went through this journey. It basically busted the myth that you cannot sweat with yoga for me. So if anyone feels that way, let's bring them on to Suryathon, and I think this has been one of the most energizing experiences for me. So as I went through and reached my target, I knew that you can sweat as profusely as with any other rigorous activity. So great thing, and I think many people knew it even before me. Hence the overwhelming response. I'll just share 2 or 3 things that I actually really learned through this. One, it is that I think there is nothing really soft in the worldly sense about India's soft power. I think it is these practices have been there for such a long time, and I think if we don't know about them, it is essentially our ignorance. And the way people came together, the way institutions came together, the organizations, and the kind of effort that went into it essentially opened the eyes for me. And I think what we did and achieved, you saw the numbers. Can we go to the next slide, please? I will not repeat the numbers on the screen. They're there for you to see. And I only hope that you find them as staggering as I find them. And I could not have believed myself that we would achieve these kind of numbers. And Meghna will come over in a short while and tell you what made this possible. It has been a fantastic teamwork by a number of organizations and people. So very, very heartwarming. So I'm very convinced that put on a right platform, given the right opportunity, there is so much that can be achieved using the things that India has always stood for, and India has given as a gift to the world, and yoga being the number one. And the last thing is the time we are living in right now. COVID has been an overwhelming theme and the topic on everybody's mind. And the way this whole event got integrated with the support for a social cause, as good as supporting the children who lost one or both of their parents in COVID, was very timely. Then I stepped back and realized as we went through Suryathon that, Surya Namaskar is not just timely in that sense, it is timeless. It's been there for thousands of years. It will be there, for thousands of years. So the biggest lesson learned for me, and I hope everyone will take that and come back in much, much stronger numbers for the next edition of Suryathon, but a very timely and essentially a timeless activity, or words fail to describe what that is. I get chastised by Vijayalakshmi every time I call that as an exercise. So it's not a way of life. So the mission of this, event, Suryathon 2021, was to create a holistic ecosystem for Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar for life has been the theme, and that has been a great learning. So without further ado, I would like to invite Meghna and go through some of the things that actually made these numbers happen. So over to you, Meghna.
Thank you, Dina. Namaskar, everyone. This is Meghna. Please move to the next slide. Thank you. So today I have the privilege of taking this special recognitions, and this Suryathon has been a huge, huge event and a great success. So no matter how hard we try, we can't identify all the names of people that has contributed for the event's success. And many people are still registering and continuing to perform Surya Namaskar even today. So I request everyone to please continue, stay healthy. Next slide, please. So these are some of the top yoga groups, and Ramakrishna Math, Mr. N. Livankar, Yoga Mitra, A.V. Subramanyam Garu, fondly called as Sububaya, Yoga Bharati, Srimati Prabha Krishna. So these are the top yoga groups that have helped us contribute and has performed outstandingly. 537 yoga groups have came in contact with us to work together, and they have given us a model to grow together in long term. Thank you so much for going out of your way to help us. Here are some of the top colleges that came in the way, and we work together to create an entire ecosystem on academic end. We got some crazy stats here. Next slide, please. This whole event only did two things. It has surpassed our expectations and has motivated us to do more of these. So here, we have some top individuals. We have shortlisted some names here in no particular order, but we have seen a fantastic performance from these members. I would like to appreciate each and every one of these members. Next, please. So in Suryathon, the favorite part was the team challenge. And here are some of the top teams that have did a fantastic job. We have thousands of teams that took part in forming teams of 5 members and engaged themselves in a healthy competition. And these are the teams that outstand. Next, please. We had fantastic support from corporate world. Many companies came back to continue for the rest of the year, So they're also taking part in the July challenge, August, and so on. And here, I would like to thank a very special mention to Usha ji, an accomplished gymnast and also a lifelong yoga practitioner. So Usha ji, this wouldn't have been possible without your support. We are very, very fortunate to have you come in as a mentor. She has helped us set up a lot of these Surya Namaskar sessions across many corporates in a very short notice. We appreciate her efforts. Next, please. Yes. So thousands of volunteers came from nowhere and helped us mobilize these huge numbers. So again, this big numbers and the coordination and this event success would not be possible without Youth for Seva's support for us. So if one set of Surya Namaskar was 1 kilometer, these people went around a full circle around the earth. So we have teams come across from all over the world, India, Europe, Africa, and many more. So my colleague Vikram, I would like to request you to demonstrate the certificates from the app.
Sure, I'll be sharing my app. Srinivasji, if you can unshare. Just for a moment, I'll share it. I'll share my app screen.
Sure. So with just one clip, we have enabled the download certificate part from the app. I would like everyone to look at this and then get your certificates ASAP.
So Meghna, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Vikram.
Okay. So I think many of you must have been familiar about the Lifecycle app. So I'm going to share, open the app right now, Lifecycle app. This is where each and every Surya Namaskar has been recorded and accounted to. So as you all know, there is leagues at the bottom option. I am clicking on leagues. And you would be able to see the Suryathon tile. So I'm clicking on Suryathon tile because this is where all the activities, have been done. The word was out in a huge number. So there's the first tile where my certificate, that is where all of you would be able to download your respective certificates. So I would show how. I'll just quickly show a demo. So I'm clicking on my certificate, the first tile. So you would have it like this. Now you land on this screen. Request all of you to download the certificate from here by clicking on the button where it shows download certificate. And this is my certificate. Like this, all of you will be getting your respective certificates based on the number of Surya Namaskars done from the day you have participated. Okay, so over to you, Manoj.
Yes.
I'm on sharing my screen, and Srinivasji, you can take over that.
Srinivasji, if you can put slide back, thank you. So thank you, Meghna, thank you, Vikram, for taking us through the journey. So I think a very important question, like all of us would have right now, is what next, right? And I think Dina already touched upon some of the facts already. This league has completely outpaced and outlived all our expectations. The kind of response we have got from corporates, from yoga groups, from academies, from schools and colleges has been really humbling for all of us. We really liked how all of us came together as a single mission, and during this pandemic time, bringing all of these people together virtually was a real delight. So companies like Salesforce, Tech Mahindra, Inseedo, Ernst & Young, like a lot of companies came together and participated in numbers. And that is why we are thinking to take the league to the next stage in July. So watch out for some more details which will be coming your way, and to start the journey in the July month as well. Not only that, the practice of Surya Namaskar, bringing all of you together and on a digital platform and practicing Surya Namaskar sets day in and day out has been a really great benefit of this league as well. Doing Surya Namaskar has its own benefits. I think all of you already know it. Improving the immunity during this COVID time, during the pandemic time, it's so important. So, sort of we achieved our goal of Surya Namaskar for life with this session. And that is something which we are very delighted to share with you. Last but not the least, the prep for Suryathon 2022 starts right now, right? So some people might be already looking for the registration link. So guys, let's not hurry, but I can promise you, you'll have the registration link for Suryathon 2022 sooner than later. Thank you. So with this, I would like to hand over the session to a very esteemed guest. This is our delight, my delight to actually introduce Mr. Sanket Atal. He's a very key figure in India's tech industry. He was India head at Computer Associates, Intuit, and Oracle. So we would like to thank Sanket Atalji for his and Salesforce help to support the COVID response in India and to Youth for Seva. And we are so privileged to have you on board today, Sanketji. Over to you.
Thank you. And namaskar, Suryathoners. It is so good to see the world's oldest and perfect exercise gain this amazing prominence. You know, Dina spoke about sweating with yoga. What I have learned is that with the many variations of Surya Namaskars, it's amazing how much you can push your body and truly make progress towards not just improving physical health, but also mental health. It's incredible to see how many organizations and individuals came together for Suryathon to support such a noble cause. I congratulate Indica Yoga and Center for Soft Power for partnering with Life Cycle and Youth for Seva in such an innovative way to support children affected by the COVID crisis. You know, the Suryathon ensured the well-being of people during these stressful times while also garnering support for COVID orphans. This is just absolutely amazing. I believe about 22,000 or so people participated in the campaign, logging in an amazing number of more than 27 lakh Surya Namaskars. And what I'm hearing is that people are choosing to just continue doing the Surya Namaskars every morning. This is fantastic. This is an example of the power of individual action, of how little drops add up to become an ocean. And I'm sure this is just the beginning. And the next Suryathon, for which the prep is already starting, will be an order of magnitude or more larger than this one. It was our pleasure to be a part of this initiative. Hundreds of Salesforce employees logged thousands and thousands of Surya Namaskars to support this campaign. I'm also glad to share that as a part of our COVID relief efforts from Salesforce, we have made corporate and employee donations worth more than USD 6 million, impacting more than 200,000 people across the country. We also flew in 3 planefuls of helpful items like oxygen concentrators, which were distributed across India. Salesforce also partnered with Youth for Seva to support 5,200 COVID positive patients with home care kits across 25 districts in 8 states. Life Cycle and Youth for Seva have been our long-term partners, and we wish to support many more programs like this and together bring a positive change. So with that, thank you and best of luck for next year. Namaskar.
Yeah, thank you, Sanketji. And those words mean a lot, and the support, what we received from Salesforce has been really heartening. Thank you again. At this juncture, I'd like to invite a very special guest now, Mr. Venkatesh Murthy. So he needs no introduction in the world of Youth for Seva. You know, he's the founder and director of Youth for Seva, a very accomplished, leader across the corporate sector. His story actually makes us believe in the word change, right? How he left his corporate job and came back to India and actually founded Youth for Seva, which today has over 25,000 volunteers. And we were really privileged to work with the dynamic team of Youth for Seva. Over to you, Venkatesh Murthy.
Thank you so much. At the outset, I truly commend this remarkable initiative from Indica Yoga, Center for Soft Power, and Life Cycle for choosing Youth for Seva as the charity partner and so beautifully marrying the 2 concepts of sadhana and seva using technology. The theme for this year's Yoga Day was yoga for wellness. The question is, whose wellness? Most people start the journey of yoga thinking about their own wellness, that I want a healthy body, I want to be fit, and I want peace of mind. Usually we are very self-centered when we start the journey of yoga, which is a good starting point. But in the very first yoga session, they conclude the session with a prayer called Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, that let there be no suffering in the world. May all be happy. So this transition from, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, to let the entire creation, let the entire universe be happy. That's a transition we have to make from I to we, and that will translate to illness to wellness. The only difference between illness and wellness is I should be replaced with we. And this campaign, especially Suryathon, has married both these ideas, sadhana and seva, so beautifully using technology that effortlessly people who actually started this as yoga enthusiasts, they developed this sankalpa that I am doing this for a cause. I am doing this to help children who have been orphaned by COVID. And people who are in the seva field, from YFS volunteers, in their life, it brought in the element of sadhana. So I think these two ideals, sadhana and seva, are married so beautifully. And we all must walk with these two legs for the spiritual progress. Because if we are too self-centered, that, my glowing skin and my fitness, my health, everything, we might attain all of that, but it will ultimately create a sense of fear of losing all of them, because none of them are permanent. And especially in this campaign, we have seen how young people, even school children, college students, and professionals, homemakers, everybody joined hands and participated so enthusiastically with this idea that, when we were seeing this thanking card, that your 20 Surya Namaskars and rupees 200 to support this cause. That sankalpa is very important, that when I'm doing this Surya Namaskar, it is not just for my wellness or my health. It's also to support children. And last year's COVID has really been a storm, I would say. And for many of us who are sailing this journey, the storm has created turbulence. But for many families, it actually broke their boats. And those are the families we are targeting to support. And as we all say that, we use the word Bharat Mata, and we are all children of this motherland, and we are all part of the same family. Today, when part of the family is in distress, and it's the natural response from the rest of the family to join hands and to ensure that no child has to drop out of education or even to downgrade their schools. Today, they are going to some school because of a death in the family, that they need to move out of that school and go to a different school. That situation also should not come. With that intention, we have launched this program, Vidya Chetana Alamban. Alamban is to provide support. And I really thank all the corporate partners and our yoga partners like Yoga Mitra, Yoga Bharati, Steam Vision, all these partnering organizations. Everyone has participated so enthusiastically. And as we heard, they don't want to stop actually. So this is just the beginning of the campaign. And there is an estimate that 30,000 children have lost the parents in this the last 1 year of COVID. And we are thinking that at least 4,000 to 5,000 children, Youth for Seva will support directly. And Seva International has partnered. They will take care of all the school age group children, and Youth for Seva will take care of the college going students. So together we want to ensure that no child is left behind. And again, I sincerely thank all the corporate partners. And the relief is only one part of any disaster. Rehabilitation is a much more stretched program. And I really want to bring focus of all the corporate sponsors to look into the rehabilitation part as well. We all have responded so well during the relief time, and the rehabilitation time also demands equal commitment and equal support. So with these few words, again, my sincere thanks to everyone who joined the hands for this campaign, and we shall ensure that no child is left behind because of COVID. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Venkatesh Murthy. And like you touched upon the marrying of sadhana and the purpose and the effort which has been come across from all the volunteers from Youth for Seva has been really heartening, and we would like to thank Youth for Seva for the support throughout. Next on, I would like to introduce Dr. Raghavendra Rao. He's the Director of Central Council of Research in Yoga and Naturopathy. He's a senior researcher with more than 89 international research publications. He's also the co-chair for yoga studies at the Society for Integrative Oncology in the US. Over to you, Dr. Raghavendra Rao.
Thank you so much. Namaskar. Greetings to everybody on this occasion. It's heartening to see that on occasion of the 7th International Day of Yoga, people are taking up yoga in a different way for a very, very important social cause. I thank Team Indic Yoga, Life Cycle, then ICCR, as well as Youth for Seva and other organizations who have come together in this social cause in not just improving the physical fitness among the community, but also just trying to use that particular opportunity to also for a very good social cause. I'm sure from CCR1 would be very, very happy to even engage with you the other events which you are planning in the days and years to come, and we'll be happy to partner along with my colleague Dr. Naveen, who is also there from Enigma Indian Nashpati Yoga Graduates Medical Association in the COVID rehabilitation programs. Any sort of rehab program you're planning to do for COVID patients who are, because these people also tend to have long-term distress. So the rehabilitation can be when social rehabilitation, physical rehabilitation, psychological rehabilitation, or even financial as well. I think we all have to come together in this particular endeavor and cause to make the society to really put a balm to the society. This is very, very important, and I think what better than to do something like Suryathon, and this is something which is very dear to us because we are also been yogis. We have been practicing yoga and Suryathon for Surya Namaskar for a very long time, and this has become a part of our life, we can say, and it has got endearing effects. So myself and Dr. Naveen were supposed to discuss about the effects of Surya Namaskar. So I would just give you a brief thing about Surya Namaskar. This is one such practice, so which involves almost all the major muscle groups in your body. Okay, people believe that yoga is something which doesn't give you more amount of energy. It comes under the bracket of a moderate physical activity, but not an intense physical activity. So they always think is Zumba, aerobics, and other things which are there, which you do gymming and other things, have a better aerobic capacity and have better. They are related more towards fitness goals than using something like Surya Namaskar. But rightly, as you put it, if you are able to do the Surya Namaskar in a fast, dynamic pace, it has got the same effect as that of an aerobic exercise. It brings about cardiorespiratory fitness. It brings about better respiratory health. It brings about endurance. It brings about stamina. It brings about strength in various major muscle groups. Why this is very important is today because of lack of physical activity. There was a study done in 2018, it was published from ICMR, which did a survey among the Indian population, looking at their sedentariness or physical activity, basically. What was interesting to see was 65% of the urban population, adult population, was physically inactive. They didn't have any sort of structured physical activity in their regimen. Okay, and 50% of the rural population was also physically inactive. In the sense, sedentariness is already creeping into our lives. And because of this sedentariness, we are growing more fat than we are supposed to grow muscles. And muscle is something which is salubrious to the health, keeps all the functions of the body in normal shape, not just gives you the physical strength or stamina, but it also has a very, very important vital role in prevention of non-communicable diseases like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, to name a few. Okay, so muscles play a very, very important role. They're just not just there to give you strength and stamina, but they're also a very important organ which modulates immunity or immune response inside the body. So we are not cultivating the muscles. Instead, because of the sedentariness, we are more cultivating more of fat, which is more contributing to the inflammation inside us, contributing to overweight, contributing to obesity, contributing to diabetes, contributing to heart disease, stroke, and so on. So this is a very important analogy which we have to understand is the moment we always take in energy, we know that we take food as a form of energy, and this energy which is taken inside has to be expended. If we don't expend it, if you're going to be using only our mind and using a lot of work, and if you got caught in your work, and if you're not able to do physically, spend time for physical activity, then it leads to storage of this particular unexpended energy inside as fat, okay, as cholesterol, as triglycerides, and these are very harmful to the body. Now, if you start using Surya Namaskar, if you start doing a fast pace or a slow pace Surya Namaskar to begin with, and this is gradually going to start strengthening these muscles, and soon, once this muscle starts strengthening, there is going to be burn up of fat as well. So there is an interesting study being done by Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences from DRDO. Okay, and I could probably acknowledge Professor U.S. Ray, who was former head of the department in DePass, Department of Physiology in DePass, who did a lot of pioneering work on different yoga practices. What was happening to the physiological system of the body when you do a particular Surya Namaskar, and what pace you should do the Surya Namaskar. So he started doing some studies where we looked at, we can say he did a lot of cardiometabolic studies, we can say, which he did, to look at energy expenditure, to look at how much amount of VO2 max is there, how much amount of changes in the heart rate occurs with Surya Namaskar, etc. And some of the pioneering findings which he brought out was the average time taken for doing a Surya Namaskar in normal place is about 114 seconds. And the average pace doing a fast-paced Surya Namaskar is 78 seconds. And when you do such kind of fast-paced Surya Namaskar, which has more of dynamism, more of aerobic capacity is involved, and that is known to burn almost around 56 kilojoules of energy per minute. Okay, so this amount of energy which is burned, calories which is burned per minute, is equivalent to a game of rugby, or a wrestling, or a handball. Okay, same kind of energy expenditure is seen there, and that is a very interesting observation, because this says that this is as good as any other aerobic exercise or aerobic exercise which can increase your heart rate reserves from 60% to 90%. That means to say, if your normal heart rate is around 72 per minute, to increase it to over 60 per minute, that's up to 130 per 60% per minute, that's about 130 per minute, or 160 per minute, 90% of the reserve. That's saying that when you're doubling your heart rate, or you're increasing your heart rate to 1.5 more times, that is when that is this kind of exercise intensity which is recommended by American College of Sports Medicine, and that can be easily achieved by using Surya Namaskar. And studies have also shown that you can achieve such kind of energy efficiency without increasing the heart rate to such an extent as well. Okay, and that is the beauty of yoga. Okay, it has got various cardiometabolic effects, and my friend Dr. Naveen KV has done a lot of work in this area, especially neurophysiological effects of yoga, and I'll allow him to talk more on that particular aspect of it. So doing
Thank you.
Surya Namaskar is very important, and if you can do this regularly, part of your routine, and that's going to be very useful for most of the people to stay healthy. And what is recommended today by a lot of studies which have shown is at least 10 minutes of Surya Namaskar should be done. A dynamic Surya Namaskar should be done with a cooling off period later on. So if people are able to inculcate this in their daily lives, so they'll be able to act on almost all the major muscle groups in your body: your arms, your biceps, your shoulders, shoulder girdle, your back, your chest, your abdominal muscles, and your gluteus muscles, your calf muscles, your hamstring muscles, and so on. So all the major muscle groups get activated with this, and they bring salubrious effects on your body. So with this, I would like to end my this thing, but I would like to have Dr. Naveen share his views and thoughts on Surya Namaskar. He has worked in the lab, putting all the electrical leads, doing the cardiometabolic functions on the practitioners. And over to my senior colleague, Dr. Naveen Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Raghavendra Raoji. Thank you for your insights. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Naveen ji, and he's a Fulbright scholar, one of the senior most qualified yoga and naturopathy physicians in India, and he's also the founder and national president of Enigma. Over to you, Dr. Naveen. Dr. Naveen, you're on mute.
Namaste to everyone present here, especially all of us who are part of this group who have made this a huge event possible, much larger than how it was thought to be when it was started. To make few points about how this is laid out itself, and then what are the possibilities. I was very overwhelmed on the yoga day when I just saw a video clip in Doordarshan before our Prime Minister spoke about yoga, the video clip started and ended with the Surya Namaskar video that we had launched as part of Suryathon. So then I said, oh my God, we have reached the right place, and became very incidentally the start and end of the government commemorating video. Kudos to everyone who made that lovely video. And I was very fortunate to have launched the video. And I think looking at numbers that were presented today, I think by far this is one of the largest digital public health campaign. We struggle in healthcare and in wellness realms to coordinate, make sure large participation in public health campaigns. Of course, there are marathons, there are cyclothons and others, but of this kind involving yoga or Surya Namaskar or any traditional exercise, I think this has already set a benchmark, and we are only going further to a larger and larger scale of healthcare campaign, which will soon attract the policymakers and open up new possibilities for all of us. Thirdly, we have struggled in healthcare, particularly in yoga and naturopathy or any Ayush physicians, trying to make an impact in the minds of common people for taking care of comorbidity. And that is nothing but stress and lifestyle diseases. And thanks to COVID, in a very bad way, of course, with a lot of cost, comorbidity has come to limelight. So people have really woken up to the idea that anybody who has comorbidity, the diseases like hypertension, diabetes, obesity, any mild or moderate or severe heart disease, bad cholesterol, so on and so forth, are more at risk for COVID and its consequences, and of course the mortality or the death. So now suddenly we have other bunch of studies where mild to moderate intensity exercises reverse or manage these comorbidities. And Suryathon really comes so very handy, well executed on digital platform. People can learn easily, pace their practice, keep their count, make it a very gradual climb up to the numbers. So there's so many possibilities, and suddenly the prevention of comorbidity is in our phones in a very structured and organized way. And I'm really thankful to the organizers, particularly Life Cycle. And I think we should build on this to take care of comorbidity in our community, as Raghavendra said, both in urban and rural population. Talking of vaccines, people are getting vaccinated, and India hopes to move from about 30 crores to 216 crore people to 16 doses, which means about 120 crore people, 15 to 120 crore people getting vaccinated. There are studies on other vaccines, not on COVID vaccine though, that the physical activity that involves stretching and of the intensity as that of Surya Namaskar increases antibody responses. So I think some of these kind of leads we should put in our app so that we can kind of speculate, infer these very definitive benefits in these COVID pandemic times, that people who are getting vaccine about a week, if they count good numbers before they take the first and second dose, they can certainly ensure, inferred of course, better antibody responses. And of course, at CCRYN, we are also thinking of a study in this regard, where we can make people do these practices and look at antibody responses. Now, Dr. Raghavendra talked about the scientific benefits. Very interestingly, if you just take a moderate pace of about 3 Surya Namaskaras per minute in one of those studies by Dr. Ray, if you just take that as a benchmark, about 3 Surya Namaskaras per minute, the total energy expenditure was about 1.36 kilocalories. And if going by that, I think with 27 lakhs Surya Namaskar on board, we have spent close to 6 to 7 lakhs kilocalories. And that's a huge numbers to achieve in terms of energy expenditure of a community. Very difficult in managing metabolic diseases. This is really huge, and in some way we'll highlight this in our community and in our Ayush or wellness communities. Dr. Raghavendra talked about multiple benefits of physical Surya Namaskar as a physical exercises. Few points that I would like to add. when you take any aerobic or any non-aerobic exercises or something that's good for wellness, fitness, achieving fitness goals, we have to ensure a couple of things, which other exercises do not easily match up to Surya Namaskaras. In some of those set of studies, of course, there is something called lactate thresholds. Now, lactate thresholds is simply, in common man's words, the ease at which our muscles get fatigued for any given exercise. And that seems to increase with Surya Namaskar. And that's a very important goal, because it's a catch-22. A lot of us cannot keep up exercise because our lactate thresholds are so low and we can't keep the pace or the intensity or the frequency. And Surya Namaskara seems to increase that threshold itself. So the adherence to exercise increases, which is a very important thing in long run. The other thing is, any other exercise is really taxing or fatiguing for our respiratory system. As opposed to all of that, Surya Namaskara seems to increase efficiency and the very, very tactical breath control. Now, that's a very unique feature of Surya Namaskara as an added benefit. The other thing is heart rate increase. Dr. Raghavendra talked about 60%, 90% increase is usually driven by our central command, which means our brain, our nervous system tells, based on the muscle work, to the heart to increase the heart rate. Now, in Surya Namaskara, these studies have demonstrated that this is a local control, not a central control. So there's something called metaboreflex. So what does that mean to us? If there is no central control of increase in heart rate, we don't have an after effect of feeling very aroused. Now, we don't want arousal even as a byproduct of exercise. So yoga, Surya Namaskar, so therefore, and yoga in general, therefore, is very, very important in giving that light to moderate physical activity and cardiorespiratory endurance, but does not increase physiological arousal, which means we continue to stay calm even at the end of Surya Namaskar, which is a huge benefit for those of us in our everyday life. So, and there are inferred results from what they call stretch exercises. So when muscles are stretched as opposed to strengthened or increase in tone, then we release this bunch of neurochemicals called pleasure hormones. So we start to feel pleasure inside as we stretch our muscles. So that's also partly referred to a part of the euphoria that we get exercise through the exercise. So that's an inferred out, and it's in our experience in everyday life that when we do Surya Namaskara, we do feel calm at the end of it, regardless of number of rounds and pace. And of course, we start to feel very pleasant about ourselves and about people around us and the environment that we interact. And that's very good in our work life as well. Now, finally, the question was asked, what next? What next? Now, as a researcher, I've been a researcher all my life, and now I've moved on to what I call translational research, of using research in our clinical practice. This combination of Surya Namaskar, of so many participants out there and wanting to be there in large numbers from now on as well, and then a platform like Life Cycle and the bunch of mentor organizations that all of us are, I think this, Raghavendra, we need to discuss on this and come back to the organizers, that there's a huge research possibility here. We can simply ask people to measure their circumferences of the hip, waist, or chest, or mid-arm, and so on and so forth, and simply post. And there's a way that we can create these numbers to be put out maybe every week or every fortnight or every month, and some small questionnaire where how did they feel about it, or the adherence. So some of these questions that we want to ask in large public health exercise programs can easily be done on this digital platform. And so I see it as a research digital platform. And I'm sure this can be constructed in such a way that it is not research intensive, but it's more a feedback to the participants so that it increases their compliance and they know very intellectually that what it's doing to their own health. So that's a big possibility that we can work before the next Suryathon. And thanks to Venkatesh Murthy ji, and I've met a couple of times, you have 30,000 children, access to 30,000 children that you talked about. And we know that people who have lost one or both parents, have a huge post-traumatic stress. And I think if you have a network of these people under your care, we would want to come in some way and help them through yoga in dealing with post-traumatic rehab. And that's a huge fallout of this study and this association of all of us. Again, something for us to explore. So with that, I thank you for having me for the launch of the video and today for the valedictory, but it's more a symbolic just to make it 21, 22. I think it's going to go on. Thanks to all of us for being part of this. I bring greetings and thanks from 10,000 yoga and naturopathy physicians who are part of Indian Naturopathy and Yoga Graduate Medical Association, in short INIGMA, and over 7,000 students who are studying in about 50 colleges. So that's a huge group which can be counted on a lot of this public health strategy, not just as participants, but also as in some way mentors in smaller areas in as many ways that we can think of. So with that, thank you to everyone for having us here. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Naveen. Thank you, Dr. Raghavendra. Thank you for such deep insights, and we really look forward to partnering with you all to take the research forward, like you said, and we'll be excited to be on the journey with you. So, as at this juncture, I would like to talk about and thank some really special people. Hari Kiran ji, who's the founder of Indic Academy. He has been the guiding force, along with the director of Center for Soft Power, Srimati Vijayalakshmi ji. She has been leading the way from day one, and we would like to thank her for her guidance and mentorship. So, as a closing keynote, I would like to invite Srimati Vijayalakshmi ji for her words.
Namaskar, and thank you for those kind words. I must say that when we started with this Suryathon, I was wondering how this would all come together. And I find the proof that yoga is, if I have to use the other meaning of yoga, of coming together, of uniting, this whole event has brought together so many minds, so many people, all with, I can't say just one goal, like Mr. Venkatesh Murthy said, Seva, Sadhana, and the digital world coming together. That's a wonderful thing that has happened. That, people from thinking about themselves have gone to thinking about, these children who have been affected by this pandemic. And the other thing that stood out here was what Dr. Naveen said about how Surya Namaskar does not create a physiological arousal, but still keeps you calm. It brings back to mind a long time ago when Swami Chinmayananda was watching a classical dance performance, and he spoke about Indian music and dance, and he said, when you attend an Indian music and dance performance, it energizes you, but does not excite you. Because when you're excited, you tend to lose energy, but here it's an energizing. So I think this is a beautiful coming together of so many minds and so many people. And I know I gave Dinanath a hard time, saying that I want the zero beside. Every time he said 10, I said I want more zero. And, we just kept going for one more zero. But Dina, I must tell you that this is a fantastic effort that you've put forth. And I'm sure all of us coming together can take forward this very concept and bring it across the board for, anything Indian and, all the wonderful things that our country has to give. And coming to Surya Namaskar, I think it has not just the physical. Yes, it is a good fitness. We've started with the fitness aspect of it, but I think we should, in the next, what should I say, the next event of Surya Namaskar, we should bring in the mind also into this, because after all, yoga is not only Hatha Yoga, because unfortunately today when we say yoga, all we can think of is physical fitness and, wanting to bring up a sweat. But I think the sweat should come up in our minds also and, start making us a thinking population. Because more and more I see that many problems occur when we do not think. So I'm sure the physical activity of Surya Namaskar is going to bring in that thought process also. And it has brought it in where people have, I'm so happy that we've been able to raise 1.6 crores for these 30,000 children. It's simply amazing and very humbling. It's I mean, I appreciate Mr. Venkatesh Murthy, who I've known for a very long time. And, from the beginning stages of Youth for Seva, I mean, now it has just gone across the board and really helped a lot. And I'm sure all of us organizations should stay together because it's always strength in numbers. And when we all have one goal, it'll take us very far. So thank you all again. And I would like Suryathon to continue permanently, if it should be, to make India the fittest country mentally and physically across the globe. And of course, when India becomes strong, the world becomes strong. With this, I would like to thank you all and namaskar.
Thank you, Srimati Vijayalakshmiji. I think the message is loud and clear, and I think we heard you. Surya Namaskar for life, Suryathon for life. And I think that is the message we started the journey with. And I think we're so happy to have gotten your guidance and mentorship all throughout. And we look forward to that in the coming days as well. At this juncture, I would like to hand over the dice to Vinay ji for closing notes.
Namaste. I would like to take this opportunity once again to thank all the partnering associations for the Suryathon event, that is Center for Soft Power, ICCR, which I should mention. We had Dinesh Patnaik ji on the inaugural of this event from representing ICCR, and through them we reached out to many embassies of the Indian embassies across the world. And Enigma, we have Naveen ji here, and also Life Cycle, which was our digital partner, and Youth for Seva. So it's only because of, as the video said, with the samani, with the minds coming together, the hands and hearts coming together, sangachadvam, samvadadvam. So let's walk this path together. So only because of this collective sankalpa that we are here at this moment from where we started. So our heartfelt gratitude on behalf of Indica Yoga to each one of our partners, to each one of our participants, and to each one of the associate organizations which made this possible. So we hope to continue this journey, and we already look forward for Suryathon 2021-2022. So with this, I would also like to make announcement of the event that is happening as well. As I mentioned earlier, we are running a month-long event, that is Global Festival of Yoga, that started on 21st June, that is the International Yoga Day. So from that day onwards up to 18th July, we have a month-long calendar of events with 2 sessions every day, one in the morning 7 to 8 and in the evening 7 to 8. And we had this finale as a part of this festival itself in the morning, and in the evening, I request my colleague Shri Srinivas ji to present the event of the evening. This is on Raga and Yoga, where we have two founders of Carnatic Conservatory, Paris, that is Srimati Bhavana and Pradyumna ji, who will be exploring how the ideas of yoga are embedded in the musical tradition, especially in the Carnatic musical tradition. How in the kirtans, in the compositions, the ideas, the lofty ideas of yoga find their beautiful expression. So that will be the session for this evening, Raga and Yoga. And it is also accompanied by a launch of a book on the same theme. And for this, we'll have many dignitaries who will be joining us. We'll have the representation from Indian Embassy in Paris, and we'll also have Shri Kiran Vyasji, who is the founder of Tapovan, one of the largest Ayurveda centers in Paris and in France, and also great musician Shri Anur Anantakrishna Sharma. All these dignitaries will be joining us this evening for this event, Raga and Yoga, a presentation of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras with Carnatic music. So this is today's event, but in a similar manner, we'll be exploring various aspects and dimensions of yoga throughout this month, with especially the theme on healing, well-being, and wisdom. I invite all of you to join us in this month-long journey and stay with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay ji. I think Thank you for your insights, and as usual, thank you for all your support and guidance throughout Suryathon. I think we have come to the end of our session, and I would like to invite Ananya Bhardwaj for Shanti Mantra.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्तिः 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 I would like to thank my Guru Sri Chalakere Srinivasan sir, team Soft Power and everyone here for involving me for the event. This was a very good start for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya. And with this, we would like to end our session. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we look forward to you partnering with us and joining us for the Surya Namaskar for Life journey and Suryathon for Life. Thank you and namaste.